It's great to see teachers, great to see educators that have a vision. No matter what is the vision, an educator should always have a vision of how to do his job best. And thank you for that, Paul. There is one question from Professor Kalokerinos that's also an educator. Are all educators trained and capable to support this teaching concept?
Well, good question. There's two questions there. Are they all trained? No. Are they capable? For sure. In any way, anybody who's capable of talking to somebody else is capable of empathizing, of helping them think about the future, of seeing a connection. This can be at a very simple level. It starts with early years. And so, yes, we're all capable, but no, we're not trained. Or not, let's say, educated to know about these things. And this framework is just one of many different ways of understanding sustainability. I'm not here to sell the round sense of purpose framework, but I would implore any educator to think about what it is they're doing, just as you were saying, George, and to maybe develop your own framework, but do base it on something where people have proven that these things hang together, that they work as an idea.
Thank you.
May I say something?
Yes, Fimi.
Dr. Paul Vare, I'm glad to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Thanks for the acceptance of the invitation to be here with us. For the audience, I have to say that we met in Cyprus early in October during the 9th Environmental Conference, and Dr. Paul Vare accepted our invitation to be one of the speakers of this conference. My comment is that your thorny presentation, we have an interdisciplinary approach that fits to all of the today items of the conference. I can say that it's like a mosaic, and if I take one small piece of this mosaic to fit in the first presentation of the day, in the second, in the third, etc., 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 we can create more valuable theoretical or practical products.
Yeah, no, it's right. It's one of the skills, one of the competencies you want a teacher to grasp is understanding how their work connects with other things that are going on in the school and in the life outside of the school, because you can only do so much. And if you understand those connections, you're right, you have a fuller picture, and there are benefits of putting things together in novel ways, which can often lead to solutions that we just didn't see without those interesting connections. So yeah, it was I noticed that we were running late, so I was waiting in the background and enjoying the talks. And you're right, I could see different elements of the palette being presented with creativity, with the digital work. It's healthy. I thought this is a kind of a nice way to be the last speaker at the end of that. It was presented as a palette, or as you say, as a mosaic. There another.
If there are no other questions,
Mrs. Maritza has a comment.
Yes, Miss Dr. Maritza.
Oh, great! It was a great first day of the conference. I'm really excited, and my comment was that this epilogue of Dr. Paul Vare is what we call rich interconnectivity. It's the interconnectivity of all. It's the interconnectivity of cosmos. So it was a great epilogue. The presentation was a great way to end the first day of the conference. Yes, great. Thank you.
Okay. Professor Kalokerinos, yes?
Two questions. The first question is, we heard about digital transformation. it seems that we have to live with digital transformations, but are we at the beginning or halfway through? This is the first question. Maybe Professor
think-
Aditya is not
I
here.
think this was answered already, Professor Kalokerinos, and the answer was that we are not even on the way through, we are just in the beginning.
I think so. The second question is that we heard words about e-health, m-health, u-health, and we are confused a little bit. I saw the answers, but I would like to know, do we depend now on computers and smartphones or not? I don't know if Dennis is here.
You forgot smartwatches.
I'm here.
Yes,
Yeah.
Professor Christodouleas, maybe you can give us
Yeah,
good
so
answer
so
there.
I have tried hard to find a regulatory authority or somebody to provide the definition. Actually, the definition that I found, I I mentioned that in my slides. People use these terms for various concepts. I think that e-health and digital health are the terms that probably will stay. Mobile health is more for cell phones use to facilitate healthcare. But honestly, somebody, a regulatory authority or WHO has to come with a specific definition that we can use. Different companies, different authors use different definitions. So it's a little bit confusing, but the important thing is that these systems are here to stay, and they are going to transform the way that healthcare services are provided to the people, and they will make the systems more affordable, better. So I think that the future is bright. I'm optimistic about that, and we have seen that during the pandemic. So just take a moment to think what would have happened if we didn't have the rapid tests. So we would talk about millions, I don't know, many millions of deaths, much higher number than what we have today.
And I think there is much of interloping in these terms.
Yeah.
E-health is the generic, of course, and M-health or U-health. U-health could be also the e-diagnostics, the ubiquitous health. It's more specific, but still e-health or digital health, it's the generic term, and we will live with that. And we have seen quite a lot of nice presentations about it, nice applications, even for public health application, for the quality of the air we breathe. It's still digital health, these two, to measure the quality of the air we breathe. We have seen new aspects of nutrition, alternative nutrition, alternative sources of food, because we are really eating the planet, but we are living on the planet, and we still have to get our resources from this planet. We reached 8 billion humans, but it's not only the humans, also the other living beings have their right on this planet. It's not the humans that only habit this planet. But in order to go ahead, we need to think differently. We have to think art. Art was always a mean to convey messages, to change the game, to change attitudes. Maybe sometimes art is more effective than education, Paul, to change attitudes, okay? Because it has a direct contact to what our brain gets as an image or as impression. And of course, we must think that nutrition is not just food. Nutrition and food It's just, it's more than that. It's being together, living together, eating socially. Um, Usually we have nutrition and food we have in our life stages. We have at weddings, baptism, ceremonies, when we feel happy, when we feel sorrow. Uh, Food is part of our everyday life, okay? And sustainability has to consider that as well, not just to produce more food and better food or more nutritious food, but who is taking the food and who is enjoying the food. Yeah, there is a lot of discussion lately about the Nutri-Score, a scheme about putting color labels on the food, and this is bad for the culture. Maybe it's good for health, but it's part of culture of eating, because we just put a label of good food and bad food. But this does not promote the culture, does not promote sustainability. I don't know if the president of the scientific committee or the president of ACA would like to say something to close this
George,
the day.
sorry, we have to ask from Ms. Anna Maria Canzola and from Mr. Himis to conclude for their part of the session they had.
Okay.
And then we are going to Professor Kalokerinos and Mr. Psathas. Just few minutes for Mrs. Canzola and Professor Himis.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Kalispera se όλους. Good evening to everyone. Well, the first session of the conference actually elaborated. First of all, we had our contribution with scenario building exercises and the 4 scenarios regarding the future of capitalism. And then all of them, there were very interesting papers. We had the contribution of Dr. Zairis Antonios regarding the altered nature of work and, of course, the importance of digitalization and the digital environment. Dr. Kimis Athanasios contributed with interested views regarding free market versus central planning. Afterwards, we had Dr. Prodamidis Prodromos with an article examining the sectoral characteristic of Greece and a really interesting econometric approach in the matter. And of course, Professor Kierakakos George, where we discussed demographic changes and the policies that are useful to stop this phenomenon of fertility decline in Greece. And of course, there was the concluding article from Professor Kalokerinos, which was a really interesting discussion regarding the role of the community and us as individuals to promote sustainability and, of course, battle climate change. What I'm saying here is that all of these articles weren't of the same thematology, but they were at the same direction. And this was to embrace sustainability, embrace culture, embrace human relationships, embrace the role of the state for better lives. And I believe that foresight actually aims to better lives. We create for a better future. And I'd like to close my brief summary of the session with this sentence that we create things for better lives.
Thank you very much. Professor Kimis, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I hope you can see
Okay,
me.
you can proceed.
In the second part of the first session, we continued to have lectures on sustainable development. We had, unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to listen to Professor Grivas, the interesting lecture on geopolitical conflict, which was something different from the rest of the lectures. I don't know if it's possible for the Athens Calls Athens to receive his presentation and to have it accessible somewhere. There was an interesting lecture on poverty alleviation from Mr. Chronopoulos on the work integration social enterprises, and on sustainable, safe and sustainable materials and chemicals from Professor Melagraki. That was it, and it was a very nice, although a long session, but very interesting and with interesting comments and food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Professor Kalokerinos, as the president of the conference, you have to conclude for today's seminar.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yes.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. After the opening by the president of ACA, Dr. George Psathas, we had 12 welcome speeches by authorities. Then we had 18 lectures under the thematic session, Sustainable Development. Economy, we had 5 very interesting lectures. And if I have some bullets, we had discussion about economy and the future of capitalism. We had presentation about future economy seems unclear. Probably new ideas and scenarios should be evaluated and tested. Economy requires some corrections, redirection, replanning, maybe. Private ownership versus government. Social responsibility. This is a word which we have to remember. Large families face poverty, demographic problems, fertility trap. Government should support and protect families. Then we had 2 lectures about the environment. Circular economy can improve the quality of life. We can achieve sustainable development in times of crisis, provided that we realize the problem and evaluate all parameters which are involved. We should be optimistic for sustainable environment. Third, we had lectures about health and sustainability, 11 lectures. Work integration, social enterprises for poverty alleviation, chemical strategy for sustainability, cheminformatics provide in silico methods, digital technology versus health domain, telemedicine, great advantages of medical science, artificial science can extend human life, computer and human welfare, guidelines for improving hygiene conditions of closed workplaces, important during COVID-19 period. Ventilation is important, but not in highly polluted areas. Nutrition and gastronomy, sustainable food alternatives, human needs and health, food and water security. Are we eating our planet? That's a good question. We must find new food resources. Digital transformations. Are we at the beginning or halfway? It seems we are at the beginning. E-diagnostics, COVID-19 has accelerated their development. Teaching and sustainability. People should have the knowledge to promote sustainability. I think these were my bullets for today. I think we all enjoyed it. I have nothing else to say. I think we should stop now, close this thematic session and come back tomorrow. Okay, Mr. Harokopoulos?
I agree with you, Professor Kalokerinos. Thank you,
very
all
much.
of you. Thank you very much.
Unless Dr. Psathas would like to say something.
No,
Now, what we forgot is for today is the day for the army. Is that correct?
yes, it is.
And
It is.
also it is,
For the arm, not for the army, for the armed forces.
sorry about that. And also Dr. Marisa reminded to me that today is Panagiotis and Maria. Some Panagiotis and Maria are celebrating. I don't know if we have anyone who is celebrating today, but I think we can close and say good night to each other until tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
Thank
very
you, all
much.
of you. Thank you very much.
Very
See you
much.
tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Αντίο, γεια χαρά.
Bye.
Ευαγγελία,
Γεια
μια
σας,
χαρά
γεια
είσαι,
σας.
Ευαγγελία.
Καλό βράδυ.
Γεια σας.
Διονύση, χαιρετισμούς στην Νικολέτα.
Να είστε καλά. Να είστε καλά.
Γεια σας, καλό βράδυ.
Καλό βράδυ σε
βράδυ
όλους.
σε όλους. Καληνύχτα.